Hey everyone, Maddie here. This is going to be the first video that I'm going to be making for the Section 80 music channel, besides the Mixtape Club how-to video. This is the first kind of a series of videos I'm hoping to do every once in a while on this channel to kind of just discuss music and all this, just, whatever's on my mind about music. So, let's see, I'm going to move my mic a little bit. It's in the shot. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I want to talk about streaming services for a little bit. Probably, I don't know how long this is gonna go on because I'm going completely unscripted. So this video is probably going to be a huge mess, but I don't care. Anyways, streaming services. Now what am I gonna talk about? I'm gonna talk about certain artists taking their music off of streaming services and blaming streaming services. In some cases, they are somewhat justified, I guess. In the case maybe of like Tom York taking his music off Spotify. I mean, again, he basically owns some of his, he only took In Rainbows off of Spotify and like his own solo albums. I believe those are as far as I can tell, I think they're self-released, and like he has the rights to this, so it's like okay. And I think which actually no, which is sort of conflicting because he put his music on Apple Music. Same with actually the main person I want to talk about is Taylor Swift. So a few months ago, Taylor Swift put her music off of Spotify, saying that artists are getting paid enough by Spotify, and yada yada yada. And then Apple Music launches, and she's like, "I'm not gonna put my music on Apple Music because I'm protesting for because of independent artists who aren't earning money off their music." And then a few weeks later, she puts her music on, and then like a week later, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna put my music on there because we came to a deal." Which again, Apple Music, which was kind of right to get mad about that because like they were offering a 3-month free trial, which is like, if they're not gonna pay artists in these 3 months, yeah, that is bullshit. I kind of agree with that. I'm glad that artists. The thing is, artists aren't getting paid. Let's make that very abundantly clear to Taylor Swift and to any artist that tries to protest streaming services. The money made off of streaming services, here you go. If I recall correctly, for Spotify, it is 30% goes to Spotify, 70% goes to the labels. The labels, let's make that very, very clear. Most of the money from Spotify, from streaming, goes to goes to the labels. Now, if you're an artist, let's say like Sun Kil Moon or Sufjan Stevens, and you own your record label, guess what? You're probably earning most of the money back. You're probably earning you're probably getting more money than some other artists because they're signed to a label that they don't own, that they're just an artist on the label. Now, Taylor Swift is a very big artist, and she signed to a label that at the time when she signed was very small. It was just sort of getting started, and then it's becoming one of the biggest country labels in the world because of her signing to them, because she ended up becoming the biggest country star in the world, and now she's the biggest pop star in the world. So let's see. Let's discuss the problem with Taylor Swift and taking her music off Spotify for wrong reasons. Okay. Let's make this again. It's not that Spotify is not paying artists. Okay. It just makes me wonder, like, why are you protesting Spotify? It's like, did we not learn anything from Napster? We must have not learned a single thing from Napster, because it's very obvious that, well, again, in the case of Napster, it's a little different because with Napster, it was free. Artists were earning no money whatsoever. No, because people weren't paying for Spotify for Napster. Napster was just absolutely free. You got your music for free, you download it for free. It was free. So, but still, the lesson we should have learned from Napster is that, hey, labels, they gotta fucking evolve, okay? They gotta really evolve, because you have Napster, which just changed the music industry forever. It turned the music industry on its head. It's like, this is the way that people are going to. It was like predicting the future. Like, hey, this is the way people are going to listen to the music in the future. They're going to listen to it through their computers. They're going to get their music through their computers. And so labels are like, no, we're just gonna sue you guys, and And Napster, if the labels actually worked with Napster, Napster would still be around today. It would be the first real, streaming service, or the first real, digital download music service. And it wasn't until iTunes came along and was like, hey, it basically stole from Napster. It was like, okay, this is the proper way. Because again, Apple was a big corporation, so labels could trust Apple. Like, okay, this is a big corporation, of course we trust Apple. So let's go back to Spotify. When Taylor Swift took her music off Spotify because artists weren't getting paid enough money, including herself, which, I'm sorry, that's a little bullshit. Here's the thing that I think a lot of artists are going to have to accept now. Most of the music you're going to make is not going to be made from your albums. That is, we have to make that abundantly clear. Most of your revenue is going to come from playing shows and putting out merch and some other things, maybe like putting your songs in commercials and whatnot, and some other things. But for the most part, your main source of revenue is concerts and merch. And I think a lot of artists have realized this, and in fact, they've embraced it. You mean Saint Vincent, for example, one of my favorite artists, she just tours nonstop, just crazy, just tour, just so it's amazing. And then of course she has merch and whatnot. So yeah. Um, and there's a few, of course, exceptions. I said earlier, as if you own your own label, there's a good chance that you are going to earn, most of the money back on your music. So, but, not all artists can start labels, okay? Maybe it's just, it's not possible for certain artists. Certain artists, maybe they just don't even want to start labels because they don't want to deal with the business aspects, and I don't blame them. So, however, let's go back to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, because she made her label practically famous, she probably has a bit more leeway with her label, as in she probably has a lot more control over, her music and whatnot than a lot of artists on major labels do. So, Taylor Swift, if you want to, try to protest streaming services, number one, you're wrong. It's like streaming services. This is the future. This is the way people are going to listen to music now. Okay, there's no going back. Like this is the way people listen to music. Okay, stop trying to fight it, because we may have something like Napster happen again, and that's just going to fuck up the music industry. So, Taylor Swift, what you need to do, in fact, artists who are protesting Spotify and Apple Music and all these streaming services, protest the labels. Again, you have to realize that labels, they aren't paying artists, okay? Because of Napster and and illegally downloading music, and to an extent streaming services, artists are fucked, okay? Like, they're fucked because labels are like, holy shit, we made all this money in the 90s and we are still able to pay our artists, but like now we can't pay our artists at all. Like, we can barely keep ourselves afloat. So artists aren't earning as much money as they used to, because they're number one, their albums are not even selling that much. So really, and the label was like, hey, we got to keep ourselves afloat. So like, you're not going to earn most of the money off your album, which is why I said earlier, most artists make their money off of merch and touring, which is why I think you see a lot more artists touring nowadays. Because like a band like the Beatles or the Beach Boys, well, maybe not Beach Boys, Beatles for sure, saying like, oh, we're no longer going to be a touring band, we're just a studio band. That could not happen nowadays. Unless the artist was just doing unless he's just throwing his album up on Bandcamp, or just puts albums out like just randomly, doesn't like performing, or he or she doesn't like performing, or them if it's a band. That's rare to see nowadays, a studio band. Like, artists, if they want to earn money, they're gonna have to tour, whether they like it or not. If you want to earn money nowadays in the music industry, you have to tour. You have to tour. You have to put out merch. It's just these are givens. Or Bandcamp. Bandcamp is a great platform. Put your music up on there. Give it, name your own price. Maybe you probably want a lot of money on Bandcamp, but yeah. So final point. This is a shorter video than I expected. Or the streaming services, they're not the enemy. The labels are the enemy. So really, if you are an independent artist and you get a chance to sign to a label, be very careful. Be very, very careful. If you think you need a label to do certain things for you, go for it. But if you're not ready to tour, or especially if you're not ready to tour, and you want to make a career out of music, you're fucked. You're gonna have to tour. So you better, start preparing. And I just wish these bigger artists, they would just protest the labels. The labels are the problem. Like, protest the labels. Demand that you deserve more money for your music. So it's just sort of like that. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Fuck labels. Certain labels are cool, but, like, most major labels fucking suck, and they're going to screw you. And, yeah. Stay independent as long as you can, guys. And, that's about it. See ya.